Hello, SirStillwater. In this video, I want to go ahead and continue my Iron Age playthrough, or my gameplay of Iron Age. This should be one of the last of this series here for the Bronze Age / Iron Age playthrough for a startup of a new city. So I'll kind of tie some strings together here and then get ready to move into the next era where I'll continue on in that series, but I'll go early Middle Age, high Middle Age. So let's work on what we need to do to get Iron Age buttoned up. So in this video, I'm planning on covering a few things. First off, I want to talk about late Iron Age, where I'm at, what I still need to do to move forward. I want to go ahead and close out and give my closing comments on the welcome event, as yesterday I completed the final quests of that, or the final pieces of the event storyline, and just kind of give my overview of that. I do want to place my first great building, which is going to be the next piece of major gameplay that I can that Iron Age and even Bronze Age kind of introduce. And then I'm going to go ahead and prep for early Middle Age and talk about that, and I'll talk about some common problems that happen there and how I'm planning on overcoming those so that I can go into early Middle Ages very strong. So I've already done a lot of my daily collects. I do have a few things here that I didn't, just kind of left them random. Like here I have some troops I can build. I mentioned I like these archers. I'm going to replace these spear fighters later with probably soldiers. I'll have soldiers and archers at that point, so it's all Iron Age. I've done my daily collects. I have some building upgrades to do. That'll be a kind of a separate topic. I'll talk about that a little bit later. I've already done my daily collect of the castle. I've already done my Friend's Tavern pickup, where I collected from my table, and I unlocked an additional 2 spots for 2 more chairs. I don't have the chairs yet. I won't get the chairs until I spend another 500, at least for this one. The other one might be even a little more expensive, I'm not sure. But that gives me room for people to sit at my tavern. As I'm adding friends, I'm getting a lot of not a lot, I'm getting some friend invites now. And I'll do a separate video that just talks about Friend's Tavern, some of the mechanics of it, and just some general best practices. So it'll be a separate topic that I'll go a little bit deeper in. But first, let's get back on track. So, welcome event. As I mentioned in one of the previous videos, if you've seen that, if not, I'll kind of recap it here. There are in the welcome event, there's 14, steps or whatever you want to call it, that where you can do collects. You can collect some gold diamonds or gold dice, excuse me. The gold die, which lets you pick your number when you go around the table, around the board, or it gives you what they call paper money, which is the currency that's used in the game. I've completed that yesterday. The clock is still running. This is the same mechanics that they use for other special events, of which there's one running right now while I'm recording this, called the wildlife event, which is something they do every January. So it kind of teaches you the mechanics of the special events. So in there, I've come in here, I've already gone through, I've spent my normal diamonds, which are just a random single dice roll that goes around the board. You can either pick up things, or you can pick up like coins, supplies, a chance at whatever the special event daily special is. Also gives you an opportunity to pick up goods, forge points, and so on. And then there's the gold diamond, which lets you go, the gold dice, excuse me, which lets you pick your number. So you can kind of look ahead and pick your number and pick where you're going to land, so that you're pretty much guaranteed what you're gonna win. So great event. Just my closing thoughts on this, and I'm going to have a separate video that covers the entire welcome event as a whole. That's just a video dedicated just to that. But my overall thought of the welcome event is it's a really fantastic offering to pick up a lot of resources early in the game that you need for bronze, iron, and moving forward. It gives you a lot of forge points. It takes a lot of the weight out, and I suspect that that's part of. I suspect that they had 2 purposes when they put this in. One was to teach you the mechanics of the special event. Well, maybe 3 things. Second, to give you that opportunity of chance, that kind of have that win risk reward, not knowing what you're going to get. To kind of get people used to that. And then the third is, I think, is to give you some of the resources that you need, or where people would normally have players would have normally stalled out and may have abandoned the game because they were in a waiting hold and they couldn't go deeper in the game and be more invested in the game. That's my thought. So that covers the welcome event. Next, I want to talk about placing a great building. Along the way with it, I got a lot of blueprints out of that welcome event. So I'm going to jump over here into my inventory, which is that little box with the arrow. And the last tab here, excuse me, is the inventory tab the last tab is the blueprints for the buildings. You notice I've got all the blueprints here for the Tower of Babel, and then I'll go ahead and click on that, which means I can build it if I have all of the goods. I've done a little bit of work behind the scenes to make sure I had all the goods needed so I could build this building. Otherwise, I would have been short, and I would have had to gather those somehow, either through production or through trade, or really those are the two choices, right? You either make the goods or you trade for the goods, or well, I guess the third choice is, or you get them randomly from whatever, and you're kind of waiting on chance to bring you the goods through events or through daily collects or whatever, incidences and so on. So this is the Tower of Babel. Personally, I like the Tower of Babel and the Lighthouse of Alexandria. They're both early buildings. This is a, whoops, let me go back over here. And this is a Bronze Age building. It sits on a 4x4, so it's not very big. It costs 44 points to get to level 1. When you build it, it's like sticks and bricks or sticks in mud or whatever they want to call it, where it's basically just sitting there waiting for the 40 points to start to give the reward. So it's just taking up space at that point. And I'll show that in just a moment. The production bonus, though, is at level 1, you pick up 12 goods production per day in a daily collect, in a 24-hour clock collect. They're unrefined goods. And this early in the game, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't mean anything because everything's unrefined up until a later era. But basically, it will be 12 of one of the 5 randomly 12 of one of the 5 different goods that are in the era that you are currently in. So it will be one of the 5 Iron Age goods. I would get 12 of those each 24-hour collect. This is a non-plunderable building in that if somebody attacks my city and they try to, just plunder whatever, they can't do this building, which is super important because they can plunder your goods buildings, but they can't plunder this. It also gives you a population of 90, which gets helpful, especially if you're building a lot of troops. You can burn through population pretty quickly. So the 90 is nice. Each level above that, it will increase the number produced. Like I think it goes to 13, and then I'm just making up numbers, 96 or 100, whatever. But both of those will continue to increase every level the building advances. So that's kind of the high-level overview of the Tower of Babel. It also gives you a great building that you can put in guild swaps. Other people can contribute to get blueprints. So I went ahead and placed it. You notice it does need a road to connect. I'm going to go ahead and move one of these trees. I should probably get rid of these trees, but I'll do that later. And I need to build a road. And I'll build a little gravel road to connect it. Good. So there's my great building. It's placed. It's doing nothing. It sticks in bricks and sticks in mud or whatever we want to call it. So 0-40 to get it to the next level. I can go ahead and I can drop these 33. Actually, I've got 38. I don't have enough to take it to level 1. But just for the sake of doing it, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Okay, good. So now I've got 33 out of 40. I've got some spots that will pay something. So spots 1 and 2. Any contribution that takes those spots will get 5 forge points and 4 medals. And then this one's 5 and 2. And then the last one is just a medal. So normally you don't start seeing forge points on spot 5 until you're level 10, level 11, level 11 maybe. But either way, and these, same thing, these will increase over time. And then I think once you get to level 1, I think it will pay a forge point for the top position. And then eventually that kind of continues to grow as well. So this is out here. I can go ahead and actually I am going to go ahead and commit my future forge points to getting this upgraded. Because I do want to get to level 1 so I get some daily collects off of this. So there we go. That's my first great building placed. And this is kind of the final, one of the final pieces of the main infrastructure storyline. And one of the next videos I'm going to be creating is probably the next video I think I'm going to create, if it's not going to be a random rambling, will be a Bronze Age recap and an Iron Age recap. And I'll speak to what those eras brought into the into the game, what their purpose was, and then just kind of some overview on that and so on. I want to do that before I head into early Middle Age and High Middle Age, because the gameplay changes from a tactical approach to more of a strategic and tactical combination. So stay tuned for those. Those videos are coming very soon. Let's see. So we talked about the welcome event. We talked about the first great building. Prep for early Middle Age. So I know I'm kind of plowing through a bunch of different topics here, but that's kind of what this is, to kind of pull the pieces together and kind of get ready for the next, right? So here I am in Iron Age. I've got a bunch of things. I need lumber for that. I have all the forge points committed. I mentioned in a previous video I'm kind of holding off on this because I don't want to get attacked and plundered yet. That's part of my play style with my intent of getting my first great buildings up that produce goods. Is they're non-plunderable. So if somebody comes in and grabs my stone off the stonemason, well, I'm not totally without any goods for the day. Let's see. I do have an opportunity to unlock settlements, which is kind of interesting that they put that here. I'm surprised that didn't show up in early Middle Age, but they kind of put that as a dead end in this research tree. But either way, again, I need lumber. You've seen a pattern here. I need lumber here. I need lumber there. I've got 14 out of 30. I've got 14, period. I need 14. I need 60 in order to complete both of those. So that's the bottleneck that I'm getting ready to talk about. And then also, if I'm ready to push in, I could, if I had the forge points, I could push right into early Middle Age. I don't want to do that yet because I would come in very weak. Because all my battles would be based on early Middle Age, and the best troops I have are Iron Age with not much of a boost. So I want to hold off, and I'm going to camp in Iron Age for a while. I'm going to prep myself and stack supplies, stack supplies and goods, and get ready for EMA, which is a whole nother video. So that said, I kind of covered the main topics that I wanted to talk about. The common problem here I did mention is that restriction in your goods. That's going to be the bottleneck that comes in now. We were able to plow through Bronze Age and Iron Age pretty well through Iron Age, especially with what that event brought. The event brought a lot of goods, and it brought a lot of forge points, and even the blueprints for the Tower of Babel. So now we talk about what do we do to get some of those goods, right? So I've got the continent map. I've unlocked both of my boosts for Bronze Age, which is dye and stone. I'm still working my way through the Iron Age stories. So here, if I go over here and complete this, I'm just going to do this real quick. And as I like to mention before, I'm kind of an auto battler, unless I really want to sit down and spend the time and focus on a strategic battle. There we go. And then now I can go and unlock this. This is probably going to be a goods boost of something from Iron Age. So when I get there, I will build that building. I'll probably have to unlock it and then build the building that's appropriate for what I have a boost so that I can create some Iron Age goods. So the best I can do right now is I could produce some stonemasons. I'm doing 10 per 8-hour window. I go over, take a look at the market. I look at what I have in my inventory, and I've been picking up Iron Age stuff probably from the storylines and from incidences and completing some guild expedition and stuff like that. I didn't talk about guild expedition yet, but so I've been picking some stuff up here. I have some stuff for Bronze Age. I did make some trades to get the pieces the goods that I needed to place my Tower of Babel, and that's why these are all real low. So a couple things I could do is I'm producing stone. I can also trade down from my Iron Age. That's the bottleneck. This is the biggest bottleneck I'm going to be facing right now, is this and forge points. Because forge points are normally based off of the time. The clock runs, you get 1 per hour, you pick up whatever you pick up from your guild that you're in your town center every day. Maybe you pick some up randomly across the board or through guild expedition, but they come slowly and they spend quickly. So that's the story on forge points. And goods can be the same thing, right? So you get them where you can, and then also you have to be of the right good type that you need for what you need it for. Like in that case, I need lumber. I need a lot more lumber in order to complete those two. As I get into even some of the Iron Age stories, I'm probably going to need, or a research tree, I'm probably going to need some of these goods here from Iron Age. And most definitely I will need these when I get into early Middle Age. So that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here in just a second. You see I got some incidences. Here's some cloth. That's Bronze Age. You got some coin. Here's some supplies. Here's some more supplies. So it's kind of luck of the draw. Here's some more Bronze Age. And these will be random. They'll be from your era or earlier eras. So, okay, so that's that. Let's see, what else did I want to touch on? I think that was pretty much it. Next, we've got to unlock settlements and need to get a couple of those other things developed, but those will be separate stories for another day. So on that note, I will go ahead and wrap it up here. Here I am at the end of Iron Age. All in all, play Bronze and Iron Age from start. I think in the video series, I think it spanned 2 weeks. In real world time, I'm going to guess maybe well, there's two sides of that. Right? One's the real playtime, like real legitimate, committed playtime is probably less than 5 hours, maybe 3 hours. And then kind of minimum clock time. And a lot of that's going to vary because of how often you're collecting blueprint, forge points and collects and stuff like that. But I would probably say a week is probably a good realistic. There are certain days that I didn't do anything. I intentionally didn't collect till the next day when I recorded a video, things like that. So that kind of gives some perspective on it. In the old days, it was a lot longer because you were waiting on forge points. Where you were out scrapping, trying to find forge points, find great buildings to contribute to, and collect forge points off of those and all that. So either way, that's it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it here, and I thank you for watching, and I thank you all for your feedback. If you're subscribed, thank you. If you're not subscribed, please consider, and I will keep them coming. And I really like kind of doing this series, and I will continue down this path and other aspects of the game because I really love this game. I have for a long time. Thanks. Have a good one. Take care. Bye.